DayBreak, Chapter 8, Part 2. The sun sank low over Coulthard as Daring Do and Carrot exited the train car. Daring gave her grayscale mane an extra ruffle and set a pith helmet on her head.
So you're dressing up as Daring Do?
Care stared at Daring as the latter paraded around in her traditional khaki skirt. Daring then tossed her mane.
Yeah, so? It's sort of all...
Care tilted her head.
It seems kind of circular, maybe redundant, a little egotistical. Look, if an author doesn't shill her own stuff, nobody else will either.
Daring adjusted her hat.
This is grade A authentic movie merchandise, I'll add.
She squinted.
And what are you supposed to be? A diamond dog?
Care jerked her head back. She polished a gem-studded bracelet on her hoof.
I'm Radiance from the Power Ponies. She was one of my favorite superheroes when I was a filly.
She looked over her diamond-patterned jumpsuit.
I thought I did pretty well with the design. Yeah, sure thing, Cap.
Daring glanced around Coulthard's train station with a huff.
What's taking Sparkle so long? We've got a schedule to keep. The masquerade starts in 2 hours. Just give her a few moments. She's gotta...
Care slapped her forehead.
I'm going to meet my idol dressed like a clown. Huh? Your idol?
Daring Do lowered an eyebrow before smiling.
Oh yeah, Velvet. Oh, you gotta be careful who and what you worship.
A car a short ways down opened up. Twilight Sparkle strode out, covered in a simple brown hooded cape. Her mane was done up in a braid that looped over her shoulder.
Ready to head to the castle?
Daring Do stretched her wings out slowly.
You're wearing your Clover the Clever costume again this year? Hey, it's a nice costume.
Twilight flipped the hood back.
It's made of authentic sackcloth. That sounds itchy.
Daring waved her forward.
Come on, time's wasting. Let's just get this teleport over with.
Twilight then shook her head.
I'm not teleporting us. I can't risk exhausting my magic before we run into the assassin. Otherwise, I would have just teleported us from Ponyville and cut the trip time into thousandths.
They stood inside the marbled, gold-swirled epicenter of the station. The setting sun shone through the windows, casting an orange glow over everything. Twilight Sparkle gestured towards the front gate.
Hail a carriage and see what you can do to set up our little surprise. I'm gonna go meet my parents.
Daring Do rubbed her forelegs to get the tingling feeling out of them after sitting for so long.
Avoiding another lecture? It's just been a while since I dropped by.
Twilight shook her head.
I told them that they shouldn't come to the party, but you know my mom. She smells that something's up.
Care wrinkled her forehead.
So you're gonna make sure that they get here and home okay?
Twilight's wings drooped beneath her cape.
Well, I don't usually invite my parents to assassination attempts. Hey, it'll be fine.
Daring placed a hoof on Twilight's shoulder.
We'll keep it nice and contained, away from the party. Hurricane won't even know what hit her.
Care adjusted the gems in her mane.
If she does, she'll have about enough time to curse her rotten wings. Yeah, that.
Daring chucked Twilight's foreleg. She grabbed Care and made her way to the gate.
Go on, Sparkle. We'll be ready whenever you get back. And warn Velvet that I'm gonna say hi sometime tonight.
Twilight waited until they were outside before turning away and spreading her wings. Her left wing bumped into the chest of a passing stallion, just about knocking the wind out of him. Twilight then covered her mouth.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even see you there.
It's alright. The stallion wheezed as he clutched a pink hoof to his chest. I'll manage. He looked up and his eyes widened. Your Highness. It's been a while. Twilight Sparkle folded her wings against her sides and helped him up.
I'm sorry, but I don't recall.
The stallion chuckled to himself. Well, you might remember me as the colt who always pulled your tail in Magic Kindergarten.
Dulcimer?
A smile broke out across Twilight's face.
Oh my gosh, it really is you! I haven't seen you since you were a palace servant.
Dulcimer grinned. And I haven't seen you since the coronation. You seem to be moving up in the world, princess.
Oh, well, what about you, Viscount of the Blue Blood Estate, of all places?
Twilight shifted her eyes from side to side.
How'd you even manage to convince Blue Blood to name you that?
Well, I basically carried him through secondary school, Dulcimer said. He may not have learned anything, but by golly, he memorized it. I suppose that he thought he owed me a favor.
Knowing Blue Blood, he probably did.
Twilight smirked and spread her wings.
So, are you gonna be at the Nightmare Night Masquerade?
Absolutely. Dulcimer lifted a golden ticket from his jacket pocket. Being Viscount has a few perks. Maybe we should take up a few moments to catch up.
It'll have to be later. I've gotta pick up my parents.
She walked backwards, flapping her wings slowly.
So I'll see you at the party, I guess?
I'll see you then. Dulcimer waved a hoof. I'll save a dance for you. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure.
Twilight felt her cheeks warm up.
That sounds great. I'll see you then, on the dance floor.
Dulcimer pursed his lips. Just before she took off, he added, "Great Clover the Clever costume, by the way." Her wings then flapped erratically. She flashed him a smile and jumped into the air.
It was great seeing you again.
Dulcimer watched her fly off. He took in a deep breath and straightened his collar. I couldn't have planned it better. The sun sank beneath the horizon just as Twilight touched down outside her family's house. It was squeezed between the building on either side, tall and thin. Small candles burned in the windows, casting an inviting light. She knocked on the door and was almost instantly greeted with a clatter.
Coming.
The door latch clicked. A blue-coated stallion opened the door, a bright smile on his face.
Twilight! Oh, you look absolutely adorable.
Twilight wrapped him in a tight hug.
Hi, Daddy.
She held him at 4 legs length.
What are you dressed as?
Nightlight looked down at his ensemble of cloth wraps. He lifted a turban on his head.
This? I'm the Ginny of the Lamp, from 1001 Evenings. Remember that book?
Twilight giggled.
I remember that gin tend to be trouble. Better be careful what I wish for.
She wiped her hooves on the welcome mat.
So where's Mom?
She's still getting a few last-minute things put together.
Nightlight said.
We should have time, though. You're teleporting us, right?
Well, actually, no.
Twilight nibbled on a strand of her mane. She switched to sucking on a caramel candy from a nearby bowl.
There's something I need to do tonight that might need a bit of magic. I don't want to drain myself too much. There's a carriage coming to pick us up.
Oh, well, that's fine.
Night nearly tripped on his own robes.
I'll just go encourage your mother to hurry it up.
You do that.
Twilight snorted.
Good luck.
Ladies and gentle colts, King Andy and Ursa Griff announced. What you see before you is a marvel of modern engineering. He was dressed in a loose-fitting shirt, heavy boots, a tri-corner hat, and an eye patch. The Dread Pirate Blackfeather, he had called himself when he and his daughters entered the ballroom. Stella laughed with delight, while Corona shook her head with a gentle smile. The noble ponies and honored guests at the Nightmare Night Masquerade were decorated in a wide variety of costumes. From simple mask and dress combinations to accurate replicas of historic figures to ponies from popular culture. Please be warned that these are highly trained Griffin warriors, Andean continued. These tools are not to be trifled with. 5 Blitzwings stood at attention behind him, holding their spears tight. The spear points were not attached to the end of the rod, but off to the side. They curved forward until they ran parallel with the length of the shaft itself. Instead of the head, a shining tube was fused to the end. On one cleared-out end of the ballroom, a series of training dummies had been set up. The Griffins swiveled to face them and lowered their spears. Magic powder from faraway lands. Andy unclenched his talon. Iron ripped from the mountains of Helm. Wood carved from the Beefland forests. He pointed to the waiting targets. All to call upon the fire of the dragons. A roar shocked the hearts of the partygoers as flame erupted from the ends of the spears. The dummies crumpled, their cloth hide shredded by flying pellets of iron. Ponies of Equestria? Andean said. The volley gun. Hooves pumped at the ground as the crowd applauded. 2 pair didn't join in. Carrot circled around the edge, looking past the enthusiasm for things that didn't fit. Her eyes jumped from guest to guest, appraising them.
You're looking jumpier than a sheep in a lion's den.
Care crouched, ready to send her hooves into the pony's chest. She then relaxed when she saw that it was Lord Mayor Applejack, dressed as a breezy.
Well, maybe I am.
Applejack adjusted the giant purple wing on her head.
Nice costume. Looks just like the real thing.
Care returned her attention to the guests.
You're a fan of the Power Ponies? Well, I've had experience with them.
Applejack made a face like she'd eaten an unexpected fire pepper.
Trust me when I say, stay away from Enchanted Comics.
Care observed his servants as he slid expertly between ponies.
They shut that place down years ago. Mr. Quesadilla got nailed for selling reality-altering text to minors.
She pouted.
Not all comic shops are evil. Well, Spock still seems to like them good enough.
Applejack shrugged her shoulder, which caused her fake wings to flap. She sighed.
Looks like it's just about showtime.
Luna, who was now wearing a costume at all, lifted her head close to Andean's to listen. She made a reply and then flapped her left wing once. Applejack clicked her tongue.
Yep, that's my cue.
She looked up at the Pegasi who had decided to hover around instead of stand.
Where's Darren Do? I figured that she'd be getting a bird's eye view. Yearling's probably at the bar, pretending that she's ordering a drink.
Care grimaced.
I hope that she's pretending anyhow.
Care saw the same servant walk past with a tray on his back. His coat was black and his mane was pure white. He walked with his hooves close together, almost shuffling his way around. He kept his head low and his eyes downcast most of the time. But when they weren't down, they were focused on Prince Blueblood. Care narrowed her eyes.
Hey, can you hold off Luna for a few minutes? I got a hunch. A hunch, huh?
Applejack shrugged.
I live and breathe hunches, so go with your gut. You got maybe about 5 minutes.
Care walked behind the servant at a slow, steady pace. She closed in on him gradually, doing her best not to appear as though she was focused on him. When they were finally beside each other, she nudged him with her flank. The tray on his back rattled, and he steadied it with a hoof.
I'm sorry. Please, excuse me.
His eyes met hers, and his voice deepened in the middle of his sentence.
Excuse me, madam. May I assist you with something?
Yeah, you can get me a quiet room.
She looped her foreleg around his and dragged him towards the kitchens.
Mr. Blank.
The servant's pupil shrunk.
I'm afraid I haven't the slightest...
Can it?
Care pushed the kitchen doors open and shoved him inside.
I'm onto you, spy.
Applejack cleared her throat and stepped closer to the Griffin King.
Howdy, Andean.
Her throat dried out as she realized anew just how large he was compared to ponies. The smallest adult griffin could give the biggest stallion a run for their money, and Andean was definitely not the smallest griffin. His beak alone could fit her entire head inside easily. She suddenly found herself wishing Big Mac was there.
It's been a while, ain't it?
Lord Mayor Applejack. Andean gave Luna a glance. You are the exact last pony I expected to greet me during my stay here.
Well, I know that we didn't exactly part on the best of terms.
She rubbed the back of her neck.
But that was a while ago, right? Ain't no reason to hold a grudge.
Andean tapped a talon against the floor. That's rather big of you. He smiled wide. Well, while you're here, why don't I introduce you to my daughters? He raised a few feathers. Corona, Stella, come here, please. Corona was dressed as a purple dragon with a green underbelly. Stella was painted white, covered in sparkles, and wore a 5-point star around her neck. Andean bent down to their level. This, my daughters, is the famous Lord Mayor Applejack, hero
of Equestria!
Stella yelped.
Bearer of the elements of honesty! Karakpaki!
She clutched her tiny talons together and opened her eyes wide.
Can I hug her?
Corona's beak fell open.
You know Spike, right? The legendary hero of the Crystal Empire?
Applejack held a hoof to her chest as she searched for something to say.
How'd you... Shisha!
Stella then covered her beak.
Sorry, Father's bedtime stories. You're one of the heroes in them.
Her fuzzy face looked on in awe.
Did you really kick a manticore in the face?
Applejack looked at Luna, who was staring off into the crowd.
That was actually Rarity. I apologize, Andean, but I have some things I must attend to.
Luna bowed her head.
I trust that we'll continue our talks at a later date.
Of course. Andean clicked his beak. I think my daughters and I shall remain occupied for the rest of the evening.
Princess Luna,
Applejack tapped the alicorn on the shoulder.
I had this question to ask about,
Luna's horn glowed with a faint spell. A tiny voice spoke in Applejack's ear.
If you are trying to cover for Care, your intentions are honorable, but they may result in permanent damage. Please excuse me. Never mind. I'll save it for later.
Applejack said.
Enjoy the party.
She then turned to the Griffin girls.
Now, what were you wondering, Matsbach?
The plan seems to be going quite well. Now all we need to do is just wait for that sweet action to roll in. I also wonder what Kara's gonna do to Blank Boy over there. Anyways, let's get on to our successful donators. Top donators: Dash of Evergreen, Peter Coulthard, J Tin Man, Darkside, and Ponyman. Courier Crucii, Strix, Zar630, Delta Omega, Runescythe 9852, Dospo, Ronnie Dragonwolf, Hunter Norman, Austin Roland, Secret Moon, Tal Rasha, The Toilet Snake, Sword Brother and Mordred, Cerberus, Goulashing Hazar, Ron and Wandering, Enderai63, Random Person Man Guy, Easy, Starlight Glimmer, Squiddy Boy, David E. Sanchez, Soul Dragon, Gaggy, Trey, Shadow Drake, Joe Piercy, Alex F., Rainbow Dash, Teal'ca Anderson, TV Killer, John Becker, Leon Reynolds, Raven Speedster, Zach Raquel, Mr. ECU, Leslie Prickett, Edgar Garcia, One Kingdom 1, Nissa Rusan, and Vizori. Thank you all very much for watching this video, and live life to the fullest.